My lords, in honour of 50,000 of you subscribing, the Commonwealth has deemed it appropriate to throw games in your honour. I present the Stellaris Leviathan Royal Rumble, Round 2. The Wraith is still doing well, the Void Worm hasn't taken any damage, the Wraith in the north has no shields left, or no armour left, sorry, I'm not quite sure how that happened. The end of the cycle hasn't taken any damage yet, the Stellar Devourer has lost some of its hull. Today, my lords, I am able to bring you something different to our normal style of report. We have gained access to simulation tech, adapted from old Vulcan technology that will allow us to simulate battles in space. These simulations are of course incredibly realistic, and we thought it prudent to work out which of the many spacefaring Leviathans and so-called Guardians that occupy our galaxy represents the strongest threat. As such, in the Penosa system, I have simulated every known Leviathan. They will battle one another until a sole victor remains, a true champion of the galaxy. Will the previous champion, the Dimensional Horror, hold on to its title? Or will another take its throne? Place your bets in the comments, and good luck. But first, we're going to meet our champions. We begin with the Tiyanki Matriarch, the biggest and strongest of all the Tiyanki out there. The Tiyanki Matriarch has a whopping 125,000 hull points and 26,000 armor. Her lance weapon will penetrate all armor and shields. She is a beast to be feared. Next to her, we have the People's Champion, Bubbles. Sadly for Bubbles, she is one of the weaker candidates in the Rumble, but I know she has the people supporting her, and maybe she can use the power of friendship with the Matriarch and team up, or maybe not. Next, we have the Void Cloud. This little gas ball is similar in strength to a battleship and comes equipped with lots of cloud lightning. It's likely going to go poof quite quickly. And next to that is more fodder, but it does look cool. The unique Caravan Destroyer, one of the more interesting designs, but certainly likely to explode in the first 5 seconds of the match. Now we move on to the Sky Dragon. The Sky Dragon is a legitimate contender for Galactic Champion. Those among you who watched the first Rumble will remember that the Sky Dragon made it into the top 4 last time, narrowly missing out on 3rd spot. May luck be in its favour this time around. Next to the Sky Dragon sits another unique ship design, Starfang. This little destroyer is going to have to show some very good piloting skills to come out alive. Next up, we have the first of the 3 Wraiths, the red one. These guys appear to have tripled in power since last time they fought, with the blue Wraith making it into the top 3 last time. Maybe this time, it could go all the way. Next up, we have more fodder for the big boys, the Vol Destroyer. If this makes it past the first salvo, I'll be shocked. AH-4B piloted by Reth Undul is next. Despite Reth's prowess and ability to destroy Leviathans, I think his time here might be up. Then we move on to another big hitter, the Spawn from the Void, the Void Spawn. 100k hull and 125,000 armor mean that the Void Spawn can take a huge amount of punishment. Will it survive to the end? We'll have to find out. Now the second Wraith appears, the orange one this time. Like the others, it has grown far more powerful since it last fought. Let's see if it can hold its own. It is next to the Void Spawn after all, and I'm not sure who wins that fight. Next in line, we have the twin contenders, the Unbidden and the Aberrant, make an appearance with battleships. I'm sure that they won't use this opportunity to blow each other to bits. As soon as the fight begins, the winner gets the throne, after all. Next up, we have last round's champion, the mighty, the undefeated Dimensional Horror. Our reigning champion weighs in at a whopping 100k hull, 105k armor, and 105k shield. It has one of the strongest lance weapons available in the galaxy, and it also comes with dimensional claws that can tear apart any ship in system, regardless of range. Can the Horror hold on to its title? We shall see. I'll swiftly move past the Aberrant battlecruiser, who I'm sure will get munched on immediately by the Horror, and move on to Star Eater. A new contender in the Rumble, the Star Eater has a wide array of weaponry and can take a tremendous amount of punishment. It could technically cheat and simply blow up the system's star. Since the AI is controlling it, we'll have to see what happens. Next to the Star Eater is the Great Khan's battleship. Although given its massive 40,000 hull points, it's more of a Titan. I do think it's in for a tough time, however, as it's sitting next to last round's second place, which is the Scavenger Bot. The Scavenger Bot is expected to perform extremely well again this time around. It has fantastic offensive and defensive capabilities, and it can even auto-repair during combat. You'll see its lance weapon decimate other competitors. To the left of the Scavenger Bot, we have a new and highly regarded contender, the Toxic God. The Toxic God has a massive 150k hull, 50k armor, and almost 160k shields, coming in at the highest amount for shield defense in the arena. It lacks any sort of lance weapon, but it does have a fair amount of strikecraft. Will that carry it to victory? We shall see. Next to that, we have an Eldrake. These are like Ether Drake's little brothers. They can pump out damage, but sadly lack their bigger brother's defensive capabilities. Another new contender, we now have a Void Worm making an appearance with their strongest unit, the Troika. This is actually 3 adults locked in an eternal mating ritual. I'm sure it will get its money's worth today, as it's no doubt going to get a pounding from the next contender, the Ancient Dreadnought. The Dreadnought is an absolute monster, with its colossal array of energy weapons. The vast majority of the arena has little to no shielding, and they will melt before it. The Dreadnought also has a powerful lance weapon and plenty of point defense. This has to be a contender for the win. On the opposite side of the galaxy to the Matriarch, we have a Tianqi Bull. Maybe they will try and link up and form a tag team. Next to the Bull, we have the Blue Wraith. This was last time's 3rd place, just narrowly beating the Sky Dragon before getting annihilated by the Scavenger Bot. It's also significantly more powerful this time around. Could it be a winner? We shall see. Next to the Wraith, we have another newcomer, the Cthulhuid. Although weak, it does have the ability to eat vessels. Maybe it will simply consume its left-hand opponent, the CNS Mischief, a human-class missile destroyer. At 55% evasion, this guy is going to have to duck, dip, and weave its way through the Leviathans in the arena. Now we move on to the Infinity Machine, a personal favourite of mine and a newcomer to the arena. This is one of the best looking ships in the game, and its combat form, if you've not seen it, is amazing. The Infinity Machine has been calculating for millennia. Can it calculate its way to victory? Next to the Infinity Machine, we have the Scourge Queen. It is amusingly small compared to some of the other Leviathans. Will its cry summon more Scourge to help it? We shall find out. Next to the Queen, another big hitter, Shard herself. Free from the clutches of her relic world, she flies into the arena, still angry we stole her precious rubricator. Shard comes in at 150,000 hull and 115,000 armor. Like some of the others, she can take a tremendous punishment, but she is quite close to the Dreadnought. We'll have to see if she melts before it. Now we have the first of the psionic entities. This one is the corrupted avatar that we can find via the hidden wormhole system. It is fairly chunky, but it lacks any armor, and despite strong shield, has a very weak hull. It will get destroyed by strikecraft or missiles. Next to that, we have some more fodder in the form of a little crystalline entity. I doubt this little guy will last long at all. Next in line, we have the legendary Titan, the Grand Herald itself. Despite having access to dark matter and archaeotech, it remains relatively lightweight next to some of the monsters nearby. Its Titan Lance can still dish out some serious hurt, however. Next to the Herald, we have the Stellar Devourer, which at 200,000 hull points is the heavyweight of the arena. However, it has no external armor or shields, meaning despite its sizable bulk, it is quite vulnerable. Last time the Devourer did not last very long. Maybe it does better this time. There are 4 contenders left, and this one is the Shrouded Avatar that psionic empires can summon from the Shroud. It uses psionic blast weaponry, which deals fairly awful damage to shields, but it does penetrate all armor. Its biggest weakness is its terrible hull point rating, only 3,000 hull points, but it does have nearly 50k shields. We'll have to see how long it lasts. Next in line, we have the Talon, crewed by the legendary Paragon, Scrand Sharpbeak. His Titan is fantastic, with plenty of autocannons, neutron bombs, and point defense, as well as several dark matter components. Maybe with his legendary piloting abilities, the Talon will be victorious. Our penultimate contender is also a newcomer, and it's a large one. So large it barely fits into the arena at all. This is the big boy himself, the end of the cycle. Despite its colossal size, it hasn't been fed any pops. It's actually quite weak, relatively. Despite that, maybe the other Shroud gods will take pity on it. We shall see. And finally, the last contender, and I saved a good one for last, is the enigmatic Fortress. The Fortress is in fact made up of 17 platforms, all of which sport colossal kinetic batteries, autocannons, and is lavishly equipped with point defense. As you can see, the Fortress is right in the middle of the arena, beckoning its opponents to come at it. We know from experience that the Fortress is an absolute monster. Will it win? Let's find out. And so, let the second round begin. Okay, so after a tiny bit of lag, the simulation has begun. The lance weapons from the Wraith are firing. It seems like everybody is ganging up immediately on the Fortress. The Fortress is taking punishment from everything. The pirate galleon seems to be targeting the Star Destroyer. What's going on in the south? The Toxic God isn't moving at all. The Voidworm Troika... Okay, the Voidworm Troika is destroyed. The Aberrant and Unbidden battleships are still surviving. The Star Destroyer seems to have gone point blank into the Fortress. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. The Dimensional Horror has not taken any damage at all yet. The Wraith is still doing well. The Voidworm hasn't taken any damage. The Wraith in the north has no shields left, or no armor left, sorry, I'm not quite sure how that happened. The end of the cycle hasn't taken any damage yet. The Stellar Devourer has lost some of its hull. I feel like there was an unfortunate placement maybe on the Fortress, which is getting annihilated. We've lost most of the smaller guys now. It's interesting how the Toxic God is just quite content to stay out there on the edge of the galaxy. He's not getting involved too much. The Wraiths are still doing well. Look, okay, so one of the Eldrakes is peppering the Wraith. That Wraith has lost all of its armor already, and the Eldrake is... How good does that look? I won't focus too much on it so we don't miss the wider conflict. Looks like the Star Eater's about to blow. The Star Eater's going down. Yep, the Star Eater's just been destroyed. We've got the Void Spawn on the edge of the galaxy. That's still in relatively good health. The Dimensional Horror is in good health. The Scavenger Bot has just lost all of its shields, but that's fine. Its main defense is armor. I love how they're all just charging point blank into the center of the galaxy. We haven't looked at the Infinity Machine yet. The Infinity Machine with its combat form is out. Look, it's just charged headfirst in. It's just tanking everything. The Fortress, I think, has two platforms left by the looks of things, the Fortress. The interesting thing about the Fortress is it will repair mid-fight, so it does have the opportunity to come back. My mouse keeps clicking over the end of the cycle because it's so large. Is the Sky Dragon dead? The Sky Dragon's been taken out already. The end of the cycle is doing work, considering how relatively weak it is in fleet power. It's not taken any damage to its shields yet. Maybe it's just a smidge. Let's zoom back out a bit. Okay, so the winners so far, the Wraiths are fighting one another rather than teaming up. The Dimensional Horror has only taken a little bit of damage to its shields. The Red Wraith is about to go. The Orange Wraith is still fine. The Void Spawn is still fine. We just lost a scientist. I'm not quite sure where they were hiding. The Scavenger Bot. Oh, the Scavenger Bot. So I think because the Scavenger Bot just beelined for the center of the galaxy, that was a mistake on its part. It's gonna go. The Toxic God is picking things off, or is that the Infinity Machine shooting the Toxic God? I'm not sure. Shard is doing remarkably well, you know. So the Blue Wraith has just gone. That was third place last time. The Eldrake has just gone. Look, you can see the Dimensional Horror's claws tearing at it. I'm shocked at how well the end of the cycle's doing. Oh, the end of the cycle just got taken apart. Both Wraiths just got blown apart. The Matriarch is still alive. The Fortress is still fighting. Is that the Dreadnought in the middle? Oh, look, there are the Horror's claws. Okay, so we're getting down to the big boys now. The Scavenger Bot just got taken out. So the Infinity Machine is doing work on the fortress in the middle. Shard is still pumping away. The Matriarch's about to die. Goodbye, sweet Matriarch. I think the Dreadnought is in the middle somewhere. Okay, so the Horror has turned its attention to the Void Spawn. Those are the little claws you can see, and you can see the point defense claws on the strike craft of... Oh wow, that cry you just heard was the Matriarch's death row. The Infinity Machine is on half health. The fortress is... I'm not sure if the fortress is dead at this point. I can't see any platforms. It looks to still be shooting. So maybe just all of its platforms except its main one have been destroyed. I'm shocked at how long Shard has lasted. And the Toxic God out on the edge. I wonder if we're just going to have a battle between the Horror and the Toxic God. They might be too far away. I mean, they're not, because the Horror has infinite range. And the Toxic God, I mean, look at these purple blobs. The Dreadnought has done incredibly well. Given the fact I think it only has 20,000 hull points, it's doing remarkably well. The Infinity Machine is now fighting everything. Shard, the Dreadnought, the Void Spawn, the Fortress. How good does the Infinity Machine, since the fight slowed down a bit, how good does this combat model look? It's... whoever designed this, it's so cool. You can see the Ancient Dreadnought shielding is protecting it from the Infinity Machine's energy weapons. And the Dreadnought seems to have turned its attention onto the Horror. If the Horror didn't have such good shields, the Dreadnought's plasma would melt through that armor. It seems to be turning its attention to the Infinity Machine again. Oh no, the Void Spawn! The Void Spawn just got finished off. That must have been by the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought's plasma. Okay, we are down to 5, 6 contenders left. They need to finish off the fortress. I'm shocked at how the Infinity Machine just... look at his rapid fire lasers. They're just permanently on. The Horror's taking a lot of damage, but the Toxic God, no one's attacking the Toxic God. Maybe the Horror is. How good do those shields look? That's such a cool graphic. And look, now we can get close and we can see the Horror's claws, which penetrate shields. The Dreadnought jumped! No, I can't believe the Dreadnought jumped so early. It had almost full hull points. Okay, well the Dreadnought was definitely a contender to win this. I mean, so we've got a fortress that's potentially about to go. The Horror is still basically on full health. The Toxic God is still more or less on full health, minus a bit of shielding. The Infinity Machine is incredibly durable. If you think, considering it just tucked into the galaxy, it tucked into the center of the galaxy almost immediately, and it still lives. It's done incredibly well. Okay, the fortress is gone. So the fortress is going to go into a repair cycle now, I believe. Okay, so we're down to our last 4 contenders. And the Toxic God, I think, is in a really good spot. So is the Dimensional Horror. Okay, who's fighting what now? Okay, so the Infinity Machine has decided the Horror is the biggest threat by the looks of things. Because that's what it's moving into attack. You can see how big the unit is. You can see where the shields start. Shard is still doing fantastically well. I wonder what happened to the Ether Drake. Okay, so the Horror shields are about to fall off. The Horror shields are gone. It's going to start taking... yeah, look at its hull. It's getting chunked. But the Infinity Machine has lost all armor and shields now as well, because Shard is just peppering it with energy weapons. I think the Toxic God is going to win this. Oh, okay. Shard... the Infinity Machine has jumped! We're down to 3! We're down to 3! And Shard has decided that the Toxic God is going to lose this, I think. Is Shard going to decide this? No, she's changed her mind. I think Shard is going to decide here. Wow, look at that chunk of armor being burnt by the lance weapon. I think Shard is going to be the decider here. It looks like the horror is attacking Shard. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, okay, so we can see the claws attacking Shard. Is she also attacking the horror though? No. I didn't think the Toxic God had a beam weapon. It clearly does. The horror's not even looking. Okay, so the horror has been chunked down to half of its hull points. Shard has maybe 30% of its hull points. Let's zoom back out again. You can see the fortress is repairing, but I don't think it's going to repair quick enough. Are we going to have a new champion? I think we will. The horror's almost lost all of its armor. Look how pretty some of these graphical effects look. Considering how we normally play this game so zoomed out, you really miss out on a lot of these things. They look amazing. You can see the strike craft peppering the horror. Okay, the horror's lost all of its armor. It's getting chunked now. And Shard has barely any hull points left as well. I think this is the Toxic Gods to lose. The only thing I can think would happen would be the fortress comes back, but I don't think that's going to happen. What's Shard doing? Oh, it was charging its laser. The horror's about to go. It has no armor left. No hull left. The horror's gone. The horror's gone and Shard has no armor left. I think we're about to see a new champion. Shard, what are you going to do? That scream was the horror dying. I mean, the Toxic God. It just didn't move. It's smart. It's so much smarter than the Infinity Machine. You'd think should be the smartest thing in the galaxy, but it turns out it's the Toxic God. If you don't move, if you stay at the edge, you survive. The Infinity Machine just ran in and got annihilated. How is Shard not dead yet? I wonder if it's because the Dimensional Horror goes through the armor and the Toxic God doesn't, maybe? Could Shard win this? No, surely not. I'm 90% sure the Toxic God uses Strikecraft as its main weapons. Oh, okay, there we go. Goodbye, sweet Shard. And the Toxic God is now moving forwards. It can move. And it's claimed its crown. I don't believe it. The Toxic God is clearly the most intelligent being in the galaxy after that. It barely lost any armor. It didn't lose any hull points. It just lost its shields. We have a new champion of the galaxy. The Toxic God. Wow, that was awesome. Thanks for watching, folks, and a special thank you to everyone who hit the subscribe button. It is really appreciated. If you want to see the original Leviathan Royal Rumble, then I suggest you click the video on screen now.